The information shared on LightBody Radio is for educational and informational purposes only. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician, licensed healthcare provider, or qualified wellness practitioner with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or health goal. Dr. Lara May, her guests, and affiliates do not claim to cure, prevent, or treat any condition and are not responsible for any actions taken based on the information shared in this podcast. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that you are responsible for your own health decisions and that any actions you take based on the content are at your own discretion and risk. Thank you for tuning in to LightBody Radio.
Welcome to LightBody Radio, where science meets soul and healing gets multidimensional. I am your host, Dr. Lara May, functional medicine pharmacist, master intuitive Reiki channel, and certified life and health coach. Here we decode root causes, transmute stuck energy, and empower your full spectrum healing journey, body, mind, and light body. This isn't just wellness, it's awakening, grounded in science, guided by spirit, and designed for your evolution. Let's rise and radiate. Welcome to the next level of you. Hello and welcome to LightBody Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Lara May, and today this is another Wellness Illuminated episode where it's just you and me and our cup of teas or coffee having a discussion about a myriad of things, but usually some type of healing in some way, shape, or form. And so today I would like to really talk about how healing is not a checklist. And it's not just another lab test or detox diet or, any of the other sort of one-off things that we do. And it might not seem like one-off, but, one of those things that we do for a discrete period of time, and then we feel like we've completed it and moved on. Healing is a process of becoming and remembering who we are underneath all the layers of stuff, all the layers of trauma, all the layers of self-doubt, all the layers of stress, all the layers of the obligations, the expectations that we've both put on ourselves and other people have put on us, and we've chosen to take it on, whether or not that choice was conscious or not. It's always a choice. And so in this episode, I'm going to share with you how I coach my clients to that deeper level of healing and the why. Because, functional medicine lab testing is amazing. It can really get to the root cause of what's going on in our biology and our physiology. But for true healing, growth, transformation, and change, we need to dive a little deeper. We need to scratch below that surface of even though the functional lab testing does go deeper than typical just allopathic lab testing, it's still kind of just scratching the surface of what's really going on. And so we're going to talk about what it is that actually leads to that transformation and really sort of determines your real life, your whole life experience. And so we're going to talk about that missing link that is missing in most people's search along their healing journey. And what is that? Well, really, it's the power of thought work, how mindset, energy, and physiology come together to create lasting change. So let's get ready to explore together. So what does it really mean to move beyond a protocol? And this first little piece of today's episode is talking about why healing isn't just a protocol. Healing is so much more than a protocol. And so most of my clients come to me when, they feel like they've done everything right. They've done everything that their doctor has told them to, and they're still not feeling better. They're still not seeing change. Sometimes their labs can actually look worse, or they're feeling worse, and they've been to specialists. They've sort of been there, done that, and they're frustrated, and they're looking for something that's really going to make a difference. They've changed their diet. They've taken all the supplements. They followed the plan, and yet they still don't feel like themselves. They still feel exhausted, inflamed, anxious, disconnected from joy or whatever brings them happiness in life. And the truth is that they are not broken. We are not broken when we're not feeling our best, but we do go into this sort of mode of protecting and kind of hiding, if you think about it. And so our body doesn't lie. That's the one thing I think that we don't talk about really enough, is like all of these things that we see as a symptom or what's quote unquote wrong with us is actually our body trying to communicate. And when we only look at this from a physical standpoint and we only focus on what's out of balance without addressing the emotions, thoughts, and energy underneath it, then we're missing the full story. Because we can't supplement our way out of a mindset that's keeping us sick or keeping us stressed out or keeping our nervous system in fight or flight mode. And I cannot tell you just even this week how many both clients and friends and family members I've talked to that, you can tell by the way someone talks where they live on a daily basis in terms of their stress level. And when we start to realize it's our thoughts that are creating our stress, then at first we're probably going to be in denial and say, no, it's all these outside factors that are creating our stress. But really it's not. It's the outside factors are just a circumstance. And it's our thoughts about that circumstance that's creating the feeling of stress. And so we have control over our thoughts if we choose to become aware and tune in. And so I think that's a really important thing to sort of reinforce, is you can't supplement your way out of a mindset that's keeping your nervous system in a state of fight or flight or stress. And you can't detox your way out of old emotional residue that's been, held in your body for years. And what needs to happen is we need to, number one, find where we're storing it in our body. And then number two, also dive deep into that thought work. So healing happens when our biology, our beliefs, and our energy field are all in harmony and working together in concert to help each other, to support each other. And so the foundation of how I work with my clients is this process of, again, bringing it all together and looking at, you can look at it as individual aspects and pieces, but then understanding that it doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it is all like one thing is definitely affecting the other. So the first piece I want to start with is the mindset piece. And I sort of already alluded to it, and we've talked about this before on the show, but I definitely think it's one of the most powerful things. So it's definitely worth repeating, is thought work is the mind. So thought work is one of the most powerful and most overlooked healing tools we have. Thought work means consciously observing your thoughts, questioning them, and intentionally choosing new ones or ones that align with who you want to be, who you want to become, and what you want to feel. So just if you remember that your thoughts create your feelings, then you can operate from one direction or the other. You can start with a feeling that you want to feel and then decide which thoughts you'll have to think in order to feel that feeling. Or you can examine your thoughts that you have been thinking that have brought you to where you are and what you want to change about where you are. and what you want to change about how that's making you feel. So, excuse me. Again, so it's this shift of becoming aware. The first steps to any change is always awareness. So every thought you think creates vibration in your body, because every word that is spoken carries its own vibration. So thoughts are no different. And so those vibrations are what we experience as emotions, as those feelings. And so they send the chemical messages and messes through our nervous system, our hormones, and our immune cells. So right away, you can see how your thoughts can specifically affect your biology and how you're feeling physically and emotionally and mentally. So when we change our thoughts, when we become aware of them and we choose to change them, we literally change our biology. So if you wake up every day thinking, I'm broken, I'm never going to get better, I have a disease that's going to be like have treated with medication forever. I had someone say that to me the other day in session. Well, this thing that I have is, requires a lifetime of medication. And I just looked at this person and I questioned it. I said, but does it? Does it really? Like, do you believe in the power of your own body to heal? Do you believe that there is a way beyond this disease state that you're identifying with now? And I think it's really important to question these mantras and these beliefs that are placed on us from institutions like Western medicine, or it can be, different thoughts and beliefs from religious organizations or political organizations, like whatever it is. I think we should really question everything and decide for yourself, is this true for me? Because instead of thinking I'm broken, you could be thinking my body is healing. Instead of thinking I'm never going to get better, you could be thinking my energy is shifting every day. And you could also be thinking, I am learning to listen to my body every day, and every way I'm feeling better and getting better and better and moving more towards homeostasis. And so you can start to create this new internal environment where healing becomes possible. So I think it's really important to always question, like, what do you think is possible for you? Because, there's that old saying, and I heard it again just yesterday, if you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. So those people that believe they can accomplish things or do something, they do it because they believe that they can, and they do. It's the same with people that believe that they can't. People that believe that they can't, they continue down the same path towards the outcome of it not happening, whatever the it is. And so I use a tool called the self-coaching model, and it is simple but very profound. And it allows us to see really the architecture of our mind. And again, like you've heard me talk about it before, but I'm going to bring it up again because it really is so simple but so powerful. So we have circumstances. And so that is something neutral that is happening. It could be a diagnosis. It could be a lab result. It could be a comment someone made. It could be a statement of a relationship dynamic. But it is what it is. It's neutral. And then you have the thoughts about it. So the story you tell yourself about this circumstance. And that, all those little thoughts is what creates the feeling, the emotion that story carries in your body. So whether, let's say, you're going through a divorce or a breakup. So that is a circumstance. And you could have a lot of different thoughts about it. You can have a thought like, this is devastating. You can have a thought of, I am heartbroken. You could have a thought of, I'm, angry. And you can see, like, I'm listing these thoughts as statements that are stating some emotions, but they're really just thoughts. And so those thoughts are creating or reinforcing emotions that you're having, versus if you have a thought like this is a new beginning, or, this is better for both of us in the end, or we can both be happier, healthier people apart. Whatever, the thoughts are that can help you create a different feeling, a more positive feeling. And I'm not asking you to jump from a place of despair to pure joy and elation. That's really not actually even realistic. But there is a scale and a gradient of moving from despair to joy. And we can use our thoughts to move along that scale. And when we move along the scale, then, because what comes after feelings? Well, our actions. We react and act or don't act based on how we're feeling. So if we're feeling despondent, sad, alone, depressed, then what are we going to do? A lot of times nothing. That's when we like curl up on the couch, or we hide under the blankets, or maybe we sleep all day. So we're literally not doing anything, but it's that lack of action is still creating a result. And that result is the outcome that ultimately reflects your original thought about that circumstance. So it's a beautiful feedback loop. And when we change our thoughts, when we change our feelings, our action shifts, and so do our results. So most people try to heal by changing the result. They chase a new plan, they chase a new practitioner, find a new practitioner, a new pill, a new protocol, whatever it is. But real change happens when you go back up the chain and you work on the thought that started it all, or you at least unearth it and figure out what it was. So for example, if you're thinking like, I'm always going to have this disease, and that could lead to the feeling of hopelessness. When you feel hopeless, you don't take aligned action. Maybe you don't eat well, and maybe you don't, have a self-care practice. Maybe you don't meditate. Maybe you don't even go for a walk because you feel like, well, I have this disease. There's nothing I can do about it. I just got to take the medicine that the doctor told me to take, and essentially like wait till I die. Like that's going to be my life, and that could be true if you choose those actions from those feelings and thoughts, but it doesn't have to be. That keeps you stuck. And again, like you'll see that it reinforces that original thought of I'm always going to have this disease. But if you can shift it to it's possible for me to heal, or I'm learning how to exist with these new healthy practices, or healing is a process and I'm on the journey, whatever that new thought could be, it could be small but powerful. So you start to feel possibility, and that emotion can inspire you into more supportive actions for yourself. So you start noticing subtle improvements. You start to trust the process more, and the new thoughts become your new reality. And so this is how I help my clients to step out of victimhood and into empowerment, by helping them realize that their thoughts are creating their healing environment every single day. And honestly too, their thoughts are also creating their illness. And that's a hard pill, for no pun intended, for a lot of us to swallow. But as soon as we take responsibility and accept that fact, then we can move forward. Then we can, again, realize how we came to be where we are and why, and then what we can do to change it. And that is true power. And so, I don't want any of us to come to this through the lens of self-judgment or beating up on ourselves. This is all about self-discovery, awareness, self-compassion, self-love, non-judgment. And so we've all been there, because we've all been conditioned essentially the same by society and by growing up in this Western world. I mean, maybe it's maybe some of you out there listening grew up in more of an Eastern tradition and environment and don't have the same approach to things. And God bless you. I'd love to talk to you about that difference. But if most of my listeners grew up in the Western world, and we have been taught really to give our power away. And so when we start to realize that we have created both our illnesses or whatever situation we're in that we don't like, if we actually take responsibility and say, okay, I did have a part in creating this for myself, then that gives you power to then create something new for yourself. And so let's remember that your thoughts are not just ideas. They're energetic frequencies. Your thoughts will turn into beliefs, because a belief is just the thought you keep on thinking and repeating, right? So if you repeat the same thought enough, it becomes a belief. And again, it might not even be true. So it's so important that we question it. So remember that our thoughts are energetic frequencies. Every thought carries a vibration that interacts with your field, your cells, your collective consciousness around you. When you think high frequency thoughts of love and gratitude and trust and worthiness, your energy expands, your nervous system softens, you relax, your mitochondria actually become more efficient at creating the energy that your body needs to function. Your immune system calibrates itself towards healing instead of sickness, towards, de-inflammation instead of amplifying inflammation. But when we think fear-based thoughts, when we are worrying, when we're shaming ourselves or self-criticizing or beating up on ourselves, then our energy contracts. And again, what do? We hide. We go into self-defense mode. Our digestion slows, the inflammation rises, and our cells eventually cannot keep up with that onslaught of self-deprecation and inflammation. So thought work actually is energy work, if you think about it that way. Excuse me. And every time you choose a more empowering thought, you're literally recalibrating your light body to hold a higher vibration of health. And I might have just lost some of you there when I said light body, but just know that the point is that every time you step into the space of doing some thought work, you're helping yourself, you're changing your vibration. And that's what's the most important thing to take away here. And so I combine the mindset work with other things like guided visualizations and intentional ways that we can move into the inner awareness of our body to figure out, okay, where am I storing these things? Where am I holding it? How is it showing up for me as a dis-ease or an imbalance? And what can we do to clear out those stagnant frequencies in the body or those thought patterns? And so it starts with awareness, again, uncovering what's really going on. So not just the lab values, but the emotions, the patterns, the beliefs driving the manifesting of symptoms, and asking the question, what is my body trying to show me? Instead of just, again, assuming that whatever you're feeling is a symptom, what else is it trying to tell you? And then once we've identified what's out of alignment, then we go in and we start the realignment work. And we start the shifting work. And so that could be meditation, that could be energy practices like Reiki. It could be, sorry guys, if you can hear my dogs, they're playing, but not very quietly. And I don't know why they choose to do it right underneath me. Anyway. And from that place of alignment, then we go into action. So what actions can we take again to create a new journey for ourselves? So this could be the nourishing foods, the gentle movement, breath work, journaling, supporting my clients through creating healthy boundaries for themselves. And so as I close up today, I want to invite you into a simple reflection practice. So if you can, come to a quiet seat and close your eyes. If you're driving, please don't do this right now. You can do it with your eyes open because it's just a little reflection. Take a deep breath. place your hands on your heart and just ask yourself, what thought has been keeping my body in tension or fear? What could I choose that feels just 10% more peaceful and true? So again, it doesn't have to be a giant leap. It's just one small step that gets you closer to trust and closer to alignment. So maybe the thought is, my body knows what to do, or healing is happening, even if I can't see it yet, or I'm learning to listen to my body. These small shifts is where true healing begins. So I want to thank you for joining me today. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who's ready to heal on a deeper level, or maybe they're just scratching the surface and this will be your gentle nudge to them. And if you're ready to experience this trust transformation firsthand, you can reach out to me at drlaramay.com. And you can learn more about my coaching, the energy healing sessions, my functional medicine programs. And remember that your thoughts create your reality. Your body is always listening, and you are your own best healer. So I will talk to you guys in the next episode.
Thank you for joining me on LightBody Radio, where functional medicine meets intuitive healing and transformation happens on every level. If this episode resonated with you, please like, share, and if you're ready to go deeper, visit drlaramay.com to book a functional medicine consultation or an intuitive healing session. Whether you need to rebalance your body, clear your energetic blocks, or reconnect with your soul's purpose, I've got you. You can also follow me on Instagram or TikTok at Dr. Lara May for daily inspiration, energy updates, and healing tools. Remember, your healing is multidimensional, and so are you. Until next time, honor your body, trust your intuition, and activate your light.